Welcome back, each and everyone watching Mama Rugagasabo Television. Thank you for being with us. You're going to be with me, Kamikaze Justin. Now let's kick off with the news headlines. Rwanda to welcome Africa CEO Forum. Rwanda sets clear deadlines to reform vehicle ownership transfers. On the international news, Iran cuts internet as supreme leaders warn protesters. Now let's take a short break to be back on the news details. Welcome back. Let's news in Rwanda. Rwanda is set to host the Africa CEO Forum, a major international business summit, bringing together top executives, investors, and political leaders from across Africa and beyond. The two-day conference will take place on May 14 and 15, 2026 at the Kigali Convention Center and is expected to attract more than 2,800 participants. President Paul Kagame is among the confirmed attendees alongside Côte d'Ivoire President Alassane Ouattara and prominent business leaders, including Ecobank CEO Jeremy Awori and Zenith Bank founder Jim Ovia. Organized by Jeune Afrique Media Group in partnership with Swiss firm Rainbow Unlimited, the Africa CEO Forum focuses on high-level economic dialogue and private sector leadership. Rwanda will host the forum for the third time, having previously hosted it in 2019 and again scheduled in 2024. Moving ahead, Rwanda has introduced a new bill aimed at resolving long-standing challenges in vehicle ownership transfers, and more authorities say will improve accountability and reduce disputes in the transport sector. The proposed law sets clear timelines for transferring vehicle ownership after a sale. Under the bill, ownership transfers for vehicles sold after the law comes into force must be completed within 90 days. For vehicles sold before the law's implementation, owners will be given a transition period of up to 12 months to regularize their documents. Officials say the lack of clear deadlines has previously led to confusion, tax evasion, legal disputes, and difficulties in enforcing traffic laws, as vehicles often remained registered under previous owners for years. The bill also outlines the penalties for non-compliance and strengthens the role of transport authorities in monitoring transfers. Lawmakers say the reforms will protect both buyers and sellers while improving road safety and government revenue collection. Now let's take a short break to be back on the international news.
Yego nshuti bakunzi rero mukurikira ibiganiro byacu Scovia Fashion Shop munoneho kugira ngo muyibone uraturuka kuri Rwanda Revenue hari akarenge kanditsemo Scovia Fashion Shop
muri nyubako ya Mike
muri Mike ako karenge kari mu ibara ritukura iyo urebye hasi ibara ritukura ribona harimo numero za telefone wahamagara ako karenge kanditsemo Scovia Fashion ugakurikire karakujyana mu iduka ngo pi
Welcome back. On the international news, Iran was largely cut off from the outside world on Friday after authorities blacked out the internet to curb expanding protest. Sandra Tumukunde has more to this story.
Let's start with international news in Africa. Hundreds of protests gathered in Mogadishu on Saturday night to denounce Israel's recognition of Somaliland, chanting patriotic songs and waving Somalia flags in show of unity. Demonstrators said the move threatens Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Somaliland declared independence in 1991 but has never previously been recognized by any country. The protest followed the recent visit by Israel's foreign minister to Hageles, the capital of the Breakaway Legion. At Tale Square, speakers and protesters stressed the shared identity, culture, and history, rejecting any attempt to draw Somalia's borders. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud reinforced that message in a televised address, saying Somalia remains indivisible, adding that no decision taken by Israel could alter Somalia's territory. Somalia's government insists Somaliland remains an integral part of the country and warns that international recognition could destabilize the Horn of Africa. More than 20 countries and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation have rejected Israel's move, though several key region players have remained silent. Turning to our next story, Iran was largely cut off from the outside world on Friday after authorities blacked out the internet to curb expanding protests, with phone calls not reaching the country, flight cancelled, and the online Iranian news site Imri updating. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei accused protesters of acting on behalf of US President Donald Trump, saying looters were attacking public property and warning that Tehran would not tolerate people acting as mercenaries for foreigners. The protests, which began over an inflation spiral, have not approached the scale of unrest 3 years ago but have spread across Iran, with dozens reported and the authorities looking more vulnerable because of their economy and the aftermath of last year's war with Israel and United States. Concluding our international news, in one of its largest barrages involving dozens of drones and missiles, Russia attacked Ukraine overnight on Friday with its advanced hypersonic Oreshiki intermediate-range ballistic missile. Moscow used Oreshiki to target critical infrastructure in Lviv, in western Ukraine. Mayor Andriy Sandov said Oreshiki, which in Russia means Zelnat 3, is one of Russia's newest weapon and one whose potential Moscow has been key to promote. Its missile can be equipped with nuclear payloads and are designed to hit targets and far a greater range. According to the Western Command of Ukraine's Air Force, the Oreshiki that targeted the western Ukrainian city traveled at speed of 13,000 km per hour. Russia has previously confirmed that it used the Oreshiki missile to attack Ukraine. This is the end of our international news. My name is Sandra Tumukunde. This is Memorial Star TV.
As we come to the end of today's news edition, let's remind you of the top stories that we talked about. Rwanda to welcome Africa CEO Forum. Rwanda sets clear deadlines to reform vehicle ownership transfers. On the international news, Iran cuts internet as supreme leader won protests. And this marks the end. Stay tuned.